I just don't know how to value anything other than the health of the people around me. I don't know how to do it. Of course I am proud of my career. Of course I'd like to do well. I'd like everything I do to do well. Of course I'm grateful for the accolades. I'm empathetic to the people that want to tear down my building because they don't know me, and I don't mind when they leave a negative comment. Like, I'm empathetic. The reason I will never run out of energy is I don't value this stuff enough. I will tell you something, Dave. I know we don't know each other that well, but I know that we, like, you know, it's one of those things, we have a good sense of each other, even though we haven't had the luxury of that kind of time yet. And I say yeah, because I hope we get those dinners and times.
Me too.
I don't value myself based on my professional career, even though it's my passion. I don't get self-validation from Gary Vee or the successes or the followers or the money or the headlines. I just don't. I get validation from the people that actually know me, how they speak about me behind my back.
See, that is something that if I could have internalized that when I was in my early 20s, that would have been life-changing for me. And I write all my stuff, and I feel like you do too, just like this is what you need to know. And if you learn it early on, it profoundly changes what you do. The amount of time you're trying to prove stuff to other people, or you're responding to trolls and all that kind of stuff, it sucks the life out of you. And if you just say it doesn't matter.
And then if you say the level above, which is, don't feel bad for you, feel bad for them. Dave, for everybody who's listening, really, if I could accomplish anything in this podcast, it would be to encourage you to go try the thing you've been debating. And I know for all of you, literally the fundamental reason that you haven't yet started posting on social media to do the thing, because that's what you would do, we live in 2023, 24, is because you're genuinely concerned about the judgment. And that judgment—
That's totally true, right?
And the judgment can come from your mother, right? Like, the judgment can come from your spouse. The judgment can come from your children. These are important people. They can come from your coworkers, your boss, your best friend. And then, unfortunately, it can come from Johnny Pants 47, because you once posted something and he said you were ugly or stupid or you're wrong, right? Wrong. And so, for me, the level even above, like, it doesn't matter, which is absolutely true, is what about having empathy for your mom, who's always been negative and has always put you down? Because I promise you, her mom or dad or both did the same to her. The reason I've been able to continue to go, Dave, because again, this is a fun interview because we don't get to catch up often, and I'm sure but we're both watching always, is I'm able to go because I have empathy and compassion for the people that are trying to tear me down, not anger. The world is too absolute.
Yeah.
Dave, the reason so many people just heard that and said, I know Johnny is toxic in my relationship. He's an asker. Yes, we were best friends from first to third grade, but fuck, for the last 25 years of adulthood, he's played on that, and all he does is ask and really doesn't provide anything genuinely, you know, whether it's monetarily or emotionally, gives zero, but I'm loyal, I need you to hear this. You don't have to cut people completely out. And a lot of times this is what's going on with people's parents, siblings. We have not learned, because the world is absolute, they hear this and be like, well, I can't cancel and never talk to a friend or a family member ever again. Like, that sounds not productive, and you're right. But what about limiting? You know, when whoever is the most negative force, and you are what your surroundings are. If you talk to your mom 4 times a day and all she does is shit on your sibling, shit on your dad, shit on her boss, if she is a negative Nelly, and by the way, I grew up in a family of extremes. My mom was the most positive. My dad, and more specifically his mom and my great grandma, who I've referenced, were uncomfortably negative. And so I'm talking extremes on both sides. So I got this upbringing where I really saw the world through 2 very different sets of eyes. And I'm a very big believer that the world is how you see it. If you went into my Instagram feed right now, Dave, You would think the world is filled with sunshine, rainbows, and unicorns.
And that's how you see it.
It's also what I engage with. If you engage with content of someone helping a kid cross the road, if you consume that, do you know how fast you can make social media more positive? Go to Instagram or whatever platform you like, TikTok, YouTube Shorts, Twitter, search happiness, joy, positivity, optimism, advancement, upgrade. Search these things.
Well played.
Consume it, and then like and follow things that are actually positive. And then watch how the next morning you wake up. People are always like, people love to not be accountable just like your salesperson. It's the algorithm's fault. No, it's not. The algorithm is just smart at knowing you. Social media isn't changing you. Social media is exposing you.
Ooh, so good.
It's real, brother. It's real, and we've got to fight. And I like fight, but I'm the same way as you. Like I can change that. I used to use the word hustle because I believe that work ethic is one of the variables to have a 1% life. Mm-hmm. The world kind of canceled hustle, like that's bad. I'm like, okay, no problem. I now use work ethic, just like you jumped on early, and I like it. Maybe you don't want to call it fight. You want to go lean into, upgrade towards. I'm agnostic.
It's about willingness and ability to work hard when it's called for, instead of doing it reflexively and stupidly.
And yes, and where I'm going on this little mini rant, you're worth it.
There you go.
It's worth it. It's worth it. It's what people don't realize is that most people are in some version of an abusive relationship with themselves.
Yes.
Dave, insecurity for what? As if not every other person on earth sucks at a lot of things too. We all suck at tons of shit. Stop putting others on a pedestal to only undermine yourself when in essence, a parent likely put that insecurity, negativity into you. Like, you don't hate yourself as much as you think. You don't think you stink as much as you think. You are borrowing the words of something that happened along the way, and you are capable right now to start the process to not do that anymore. All of the answers to our unrest is in the purple. Life is about the purple. Happiness is in the purple.
So well said.
The reason everyone is so and they will point to everything but the accountability of their journey to move to the purple. They are either red or blue. Back to fear. The weaponization of fear. Parents, think about how you talk to your children. If you do that, I'm gonna do this. We are weapon bosses. If we don't hit our numbers, someone's not gonna be here. Fear. And then we're eliminating merit. One last thing while I'm on this. 8th place trophies is not a good idea.
Oh man, I was gonna ask you more about that, because that is rotting the world.
Teaching indifference is devastating.
Worst thing you could ever do.
And that's what you're doing. It doesn't matter. Tell that to a kid who's born competitive. Tell them that their seventh grade championship basketball game, hey, Johnny, it's okay. Don't cry, that's silly. This doesn't matter. Fuck you. It matters much more than my report card, which is completely subjective and ridiculous. This is real life. Mm-hmm. Like we have misplayed a couple of hands in parenting that if we tweak, we can have way more joy back. We are, I'm just gonna throw this one out, my friends, because I'm just trying to throw a couple deposits that maybe make someone think about it. If you have a 27-year-old child and you are paying for their lifestyle, it's bad. Yeah. And as someone who gets 10, I'm gonna say this nice and slow, as someone who gets 10,000 direct messages a day, and who, when he goes on long flights, reads tons of them, I was taken aback 10 years ago when I realized the resentment a 26-year-old Nepo baby has to their parents.
Crazy.
I would read these things and I would make a piece of content that would trigger them DM me, Gary, I'm like that kid you talked about in that video. I have a BMW, I live in West Hollywood, my parents pay for my Equinox, I fucking have a bullshit job because it doesn't matter because my parents pay for everything, and they think they're like, And I thank them, and they think they're doing the right thing, but deep down, you're right, I fucking hate them. And what that means, just to give everyone the preview, when you pay for your kids and they're grown-ups, you're telling them that you don't believe in them.
There you go.
That they're not capable.
If they can't fly, you're never gonna kick them out of the nest.
And the second they smell that you're really doing it because you actually care what your friends, you the parents' friends think about the kid, and they become an object to your self-esteem, then it's tipped.
And I wanted to ask you, what do you do, or if you ever find yourself daydreaming about the future or putting too much energy into thinking about how things are going to end up in the future, that you end up missing all the beautiful things that life has to offer in the current present time? If you could give an example of that and what you did to ground yourself and focus on the present and now.
I have the capacity to think about both. I've never struggled with being so focused on the future that I fucking ruin the now. Because I've also been okay with working my ass off for 2 years and not enjoying the fruits of friendship time and downtime, because I've enjoyed my process. For me, working on my missions has been as exciting as going to Las Vegas with my boys. So I don't struggle with it, because I'm aware that I signed up for it.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, the only thing I'm always worried about is not spending enough time with my family. Other than that.
Exactly. Yeah, that's mostly what I'm thinking about.
Yeah, on that front, bro, I'm just willing to change my mind. Like, my Friday nights, I used to work every night. Now I don't. My Thursday nights this year, I used to work every night. Now I don't. So if you I'm willing to adjust and reallocate my time. That's it, bro. That's all it is.
I appreciate that.
Don't worry about yesterday. If you feel like you haven't spent enough time with those two little ones, or your brother, or your uncle, or whatever, fix it tomorrow.
You're right.
The biggest problem in the world, bro, is people dwell.
Yeah.
There's no fucking time machine.
That's my issue.
It's over. Yeah. Of course it's your issue. Exactly. It's everyone's issue.
Exactly.
Do you know how insane dwelling is?
Mm-hmm.
People dwell like they fucking think there's a time machine.
You're right.
The fuck are we dwelling about?
Exactly, yeah.
If you're dwelling, you're fucking up today because you're mad about yesterday.
Yep.
You literally fucked up today on some shit about being upset about fucking up yesterday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're completely right.
Learn from your dwelling and stop that shit. Be accountable. I fucked up. I was too hungry for the money. I wanted the fame. I didn't worry about little Gilberto. I don't fucking know. It's okay. We all fuck up shit. Mm-hmm. I've made 19 trillion mistakes. I'm not out here mad at myself. I love myself. I'm a human being. Show me the fucking human being that didn't make 1,000 fucking mistakes.
Sure. It's just about learning from them, yeah.
The problem is we put everybody else on a pedestal and we shit on ourselves.
Exactly, yeah, that's the problem.
I'm telling all 1,000 of you right now, don't put me on a fucking pedestal. Mm-hmm. I'm feeling good about myself. I'm a nice guy. I'm capable. I got love. I'm funny. I work hard. I got stuff, but fuck me. Don't put me on a fucking pedestal. Put yourself on a pedestal.
Exactly.
How do you deal with people's venting and complaining to you?
Can I give you a huge idea?
Heck yeah.
Do you have a TikTok?
I do.
I want you to make a TikTok at the end of the day.
Okay.
And I want you to call it Dumping the Bucket.
Okay.
I want you to start a show on TikTok every night.
Every night? Hell yeah.
Okay. This is gonna help you and really help you a lot of ways. I want you to start a show, a 1-minute video that you make every night called Dumping the Bucket. What's your name again, darling?
My name's Kiera.
I want you to call it Dumping the Bucket with Kiera. Every episode.
That's crazy. I have a podcast called the Onyx Strong Podcast. I'm in the health and fitness industry. So I give health and fitness advice to beginners. So I guess I can start it on my podcast. Stick with me.
I want you to make a 1 to 2 minute video every night called Dumping the Bucket with Kiera. And I want you to say, I started this show because Gary Vee on Twitch told me to do it.
Okay.
And I want you to start every episode with, I'm an empath and I've got room for people every day. And every night I'm gonna make a video talking about something I observed without using people's real names. And I'm gonna dump out what I took in because I know by me dumping it out and helping the world, it's gonna help me not have it in me anymore. And so I'm gonna take someone's anxiety and negativity and concern. I'm gonna sit with it during the day, but every night I'm gonna dump it to the world. And I'm hoping that the people I come across every day that are struggling become an inspiration and observation for y'all.
Wow. Okay, I can do that.
What's gonna happen is two things. You're gonna get, oh, did we lose her? Damn, I feel like we're winning. Well, let me just tell her. Yeah, let's move on to the next question. But team, for everyone, Kira, if you're watching, in case your phone just died, maybe she went and did it. She might be the biggest, she might be the greatest guest of all time. She's just doing it. I believe dumping the bucket. As the team knows here, I've been talking shit for 2 months that I'm gonna start a show called Winding Down. And they all make fun of me. Mainly I make fun of myself that I haven't started yet. And what I wanna do is drink a bottle of wine and review it at night and talk about my day of observations. So I'm giving Kiara similar advice. There you are.
Sorry about that. I don't know what just happened, my man.
No worries, my darling. I think you're gonna win twice. One, you're gonna get that shit off. You're gonna get that shit off your chest. And number two, you're gonna build an audience. You're gonna get that shit off your chest. And number two, you're gonna build an audience.
Okay.
I think you got the gist. It's a little
right now?
wonky. I'm gonna ask the team to move it off. I know you got on multiple things. I'm sure something died, but you got the gist.
Dang it.
Don't worry. You got it. You got plenty of shit to say. You got the gist.
Dang it.
All right. Move it. Let's go to the next question because I want to get in a bunch more before I get off. All right, let's keep it going. Izzy, what's good?
What's going on, my man? How we doing?
Where are you from?
I'm in Massachusetts.
Are you a fucking Patriot fan?
Maybe a Jets fan.
Yeah, get out of here. Go ahead, bro.
No, so my question had to do with it was a Snapchat you did. Humility, practical steps, straightforward on humility.
That's a great question. It's complicated. Here's what I would say about humility. The practical first steps is not to take yourself serious. Bro, I've accomplished a lot and I get a lot of love. And when I tell you I don't think I'm special, I just don't.
And I'm stuck. I can't use social media. So my question to you is, I'm in it for the long run. I want to do this justice. If you couldn't use social media, how would you engage with Generation Z?
That's like asking me if I couldn't drink water, how would I fulfill my thirst? How the fuck are you gonna reach Gen Z without fucking social media?
Tell me about it. I tried hard. 3 months to put into a proposal and got rejected. I was stumped for months.
So now the question becomes, you decide to just bullshit it because the pay is worth it for you right now? Like,
I sacrificed a lot in the 7 years, so stability is important to me now.
Correct. I'm about to go there. Don't judge yourself. Just do this for a couple, like, bro, when I was 32, ask me what I was doing when I was 32.
What were you doing at 32?
I was stocking shelves in a liquor store. Do not beat yourself up if you need 3 or 4 years for the financial stability that the job is currently doing for you. On the flip side, understand that I don't have a fucking answer for you when it's impossible to achieve the goal.
That's nuts, because I've been stumped. I didn't know what to do.
It's okay to realize, don't live life fake.
I know you talk about like social media for went yesterday. What would you do in that scenario? I'm looking.
One more time, brother.
You talk a lot about if social media went down this like yesterday.
Well, the problem is if social media got banned around the world right now, all of Gen Z and Gen Alpha and Gen X and millennials and boomers would have to go somewhere. Like, you have to understand, let's all make pretend it all went away. Well, we'd all watch television and listen to Spotify and like we'd have to do something. That's not the situation you're in. Social media has not gone away and you're trying to reach Gen Z and they only live on social media. So what you're doing is playing a fake game. I would run pre-rolls on YouTube. I'd run pre-roll ad videos on YouTube.
Funny you should say that. I can only have an unlisted YouTube.
Yeah, it sounds like you work at a bullshit fucking place.
Yeah, large organizations, I realize now they're hard to change.
No shit.
Really
I run a fucking ad agency that works with only large organizations, and they're fucking struggling with relevance because they live in fucking yesterday. But that doesn't mean you should beat yourself up and think you're a bad man for the next 3 years while you collect that paycheck. And you just make the most out of like your dog shit situation.
So keep fighting until I don't have to, or I can move on.
You got to keep over communicating that there is no way to reach Gen Z outside of, I mean, Gen Z doesn't even fucking use Google for search. They use TikTok. What the fuck am I supposed to do?
All right, that helps.
Here's why it should help. If you leave this call not beating yourself up and playing some sort of fake game like there's some answer, and if you don't beat yourself up for being okay for working here for 3 years to collect a paycheck because you need to save some money for stability and then you can do your next thing, then you've left here in a good fucking game. There's one place in my life where
you can't have success.
where I really have envy. Where I really have envy. Where I really have negative feelings that I can't control, where I don't feel great, and it's watching Jet games. I'm being serious. I have tremendous issues with like Patriot fans. I'm jealous. I'm like you, and I see it manifest in my behavior, and it's just really, and I attack and I razz and I do things, and I don't feel good about, like, it's very easy for me to tap into the way people think about politics and the way people think about other things in the world based on that. And it's because I'm not in a good place. And here's the big one, and you're gonna love this, back to accountability, and it's also because I'm not in control. Got it, all my feelings are wrapped up in what they're doing, and I can't do anything about it. So when you think your parents did everything and you can't do anything about it, and you spend your entire life blaming your parents, you're dead. Like, people don't get it.
They don't.
They don't. You are actually fully in control. You don't, ready? We have an election year coming up. You don't like who wins? Move to Sweden. You can. You don't like it? It's so bad, this is the worst? Move.
Or how does it really affect your personal life?
This is where people got into in the 70s and 80s after a lot of social discontent in the 60s. They're gonna go through it again. You're gonna start realizing, like, crying about it 24/7 surely doesn't accomplish anything.
Right.
And so just, it's a game of understanding people. And I think
or understanding yourself.
Well, sure. And so, like, look, insecurity is a natural human trait.
But how does having empathy for that other person that's putting you down, how does that help you?
First of all, it changes the framework of the whole.
Isn't it better to not care?
Not care is not possible when you're insecure. You're insecure because you care about what everybody thinks. You by nature are that. So it's not gonna do you any good. Me and you saying, Jack, you don't care. She's like, okay, fuck faces, cool for you, but like, it's just not how my chemicals work. That'd be like telling you and I, stop doing shit. Like, it's just not wired that way. What it does is it adds a layer of perspective that can be worth thinking about. Which is all of a sudden, Jackie's like, something happens and somebody says something and it would be a normal thing that she would normally get upset about, judging the way she parents, or something about Alex, or real shit about you, like real shit. I'm not talking funny, real quick, Howie. And all of a sudden, instead of being like, going into her feelings, she's created a pattern of like, man, Susan the neighbor must be going through some tough shit, because there was really no reason for her to say that. And so it takes her energy to a different place. Things that were tough for me. Gary Vee on a podcast, Candor King. Candor King. Gary Vaynerchuk, the real human being. If I care about you at all, Dustin, Tyler, people that worked for me, couldn't deliver it if it was bad news. Hated the conflict. Did not want to tell people, always thought I could figure out a different way to get them there.
How do you run a company like that?
When you're so uncomfortably talented, you can disguise it. But when I had to look at myself in my early 40s, called 7 years ago, and was like, wait a minute, if I'm such a great guy, and I don't care about if I'm all what I want to be, why are there people that have worked for me that don't feel great about me? You gotta be accountable, right? And what I realized was, when I really sat down and had that chapter with myself, it's because they were surprised when I fired them. because I wasn't able to give them candor along the way. Howie, have a great weekend. You're working for me 3 years. Everything's literally, we've never had one conversation of anything going wrong. Friday, you and I are walking into a warehouse. Howie, have the best fucking weekend, bro. Fucking have the best weekend. Monday, you come in. Howie, can you see me for a few minutes? Howie, listen, we're gonna have to let you go. What the fuck are you talking about, Gary? Like, bro, and then in my brain, I'm like, Howie, you've sucked for 2.5 years. Everyone knows it. Like, why are you and I would put it on them. I wasn't accountable that I didn't have the gear in me to tell them the things that weren't wrong. My capacity was very high because I didn't value the money enough. I like to be a coach and a guidance counselor. I want to build them up. I knew in those 3 years I'd figure out a different way to get them. Eventually, to your point, how do you run a company like that? Eventually there's a tipping point. But instead of being accountable that it was on me for not doing the things ahead of time to not surprise them, I would blame them of like being like delusional.
Have you changed that?
Trust me, I would not be talking about it out loud if I haven't changed it.
So there's that, and that's really difficult for you.
Very difficult, and it's back to work. The reason I believe, like, health and wellness. I was 38 years old, I didn't have a muscle in my body, and I ate nothing good. And I just one day at 38 and a half said, when I get to be 40, when on my 40th birthday, I'm gonna start taking care of myself.
Not right in that moment. You were gonna wait 2 years to do it.
When you don't do something for 38 years, it's hard to think about doing it. But by the time
It's easy to think about doing it, it's hard to do.
I always call it where there's smoke, there's fire. Most of the best things that have ever happened to me have sat in my head for a year.
So you're giving yourself realistic expectations as opposed to just saying, I'm starting right this moment, knowing that you probably...
Well, what happened in this one was you'll love this. I was in Houston. I was on a plane, head on the window. I was like, fuck. I love life and like, I need to live longer. Like I can't be out here telling people good things to think about and not trying to make myself better. This health thing is not good. Like, not that, by the way, there was nothing wrong. There was nothing like I got a bad doctor report. I was just being self-aware and accountable. I was like, I don't do anything right. This is probably gonna run out at some time. I don't go to the gym and I don't eat well. And so here's the cool part, Jack. I go, okay, on my 40th, like I'm like trying to, on my 40th birthday, somewhere between Houston and New York, somewhere over like Tennessee or something, like, why wait to 40? I'm gonna do 39, 6 months, 39. By the time I landed, I called a former trainer that I like backed out on like 31 out of 35 sessions and said, I need help. And I figured out something. My greatest place is when I'm a leader, I feel very accountable to them. And so once I figured out if I hire a full-time trainer who's really with me and travels with me, I'm not gonna wanna let him or her down. It was him down, and that worked for me and it shifted. And because that came so hard for me, still to this day, I've been working out and eating much better for 10 years. Every day I wake up, I don't wanna do it. Every day. But because I worked through it, I believe in what I said to you now, that if just for some way you tweak it and you decide every time someone shits on you, that you feel bad for them and hope they're better versus focusing on what you're feeling about their judgment. I don't know if that's gonna work for you or not. I'm hoping it helps one or two people that are listening because it's a real perspective shift and I've watched it in my face change people's lives. My mom lost her mom at 5. My dad lost his dad at 15. I can tell you the majority of my childhood, I thought about my parents dying. It was a constant flow. So I constantly worked in my head as a 7, 9, 11, 13-year-old child. Hey, I woke up, hey, this is another day that they're here. This is good. This is a good day. So I naturally say to you, no, I don't have to work at it because I'm at a 48-year-old state and I forget and I'm trying to tap in harder to like talk this through with you. Mentally, I always am talking to myself about perspective.
Glass half full.
Yes, I think about things, this is like real life to me. I know it's a little weird or not talked about as much, but I'll sit here, I'll do this podcast. This is so lovely what we're doing now. I'm enjoying this. And I'll then like literally take the feelings I have right now, which is a lot of joy and energy. And like as we transition and walk out and talk with team photos, talk a little bit, talk about this startup, like as we do that, a part of my brain will be like, hey, this will really happen. Hey, Gar, do you know since you've been here with them, like a lot of people passed away in a bad car accident? Yeah, Howie, I told you, it's a little weird.
So much half full anymore.
No, it's actually, I would almost call it extreme gratitude. It's this constant flow in my head of like just deep gratitude. And it's a constant conversation. And so it's funny, I acted very fast and say to you no, but boy, I'm not sure how many people on earth walk around and are constantly talking to themselves about perspective and keeping shit simple and like just be grateful for what's going. And yes, this is challenging, this is hard in personal life, this is hard at work, but like, fuck, as long as these 17, 10, 9 people that are closest to me are healthy, then like today's a great fucking day, and that helps me a lot. So maybe I am working at it.
So, and it's a constant, there's nobody that's just happy. Happiness doesn't happen. Contentment doesn't happen. Relationships don't just happen.
Well, that one's for sure.
It's
because the first one's one-on-one basketball. It's you with you.
Right.
You start bringing another variable in, that's a whole nother world.
And not to be negative, but you know, the longer you live, I'm an old guy. The longer you live.
How old are you? You said it 14 times in this fucking show already.
I know, I just had a birthday yesterday.
Did you?
Yeah, 68.
It's great. I just turned 48.
So I got 20 years on you. I was an adult. I was almost of drinking age when you were born.
No, you were actually. It used to be 18 in your era.
I'm not in Canada.
Got
Canadian.
it.
No,
It was 18.
18.
It was 18.
19 now.
Yeah.
Then my parents lied to me.
Yeah.
I think it's just you're so old you forgot.
Yeah.
That's the first. No, but
What I'm saying is,
Howie, how about this though? Actually, let's talk about that. I love that. Let's talk about this something. A little back to more sunshine. How about the fact? Could you have ever imagined at 20 years old that 68-year-old you would be this hungry, this alive, this many more plans of the future? I know. Tell these kids out here, they're
that was
fucking
the thing.
27 years old and they think their life's over? Is my belief the unlock for the majority of you is to get a little bit more comfortable with discomfort. Losing. And losing comes in a lot of forms, right? Going back to, again, why it's so easy to give a business talk in 2024 when you're me. Of course you have to have business acumen, you have to have something to sell. But do you understand that it has never been easier to create demand to sell something than it is today? That every entrepreneur 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, 30 years ago had it so much harder than all of you to create demand. You can post for free on a social network and sell shit. Who here is over 45? Raise your hand. Can you all tell these people how insane that is? We grew up where you had to spend money to get people to know shit. Ads cost money, and of course you can spend ads on social, but you can post on social for free. That's what really gets me crazy when people are mad at the algorithms or the social networks. It's fucking free. Like, I'm shadow banned. No, you're not. You just suck. You're not shadow banned. You're not that serious, I promise you. You are not shadow banned. You just make content that nobody gives a fuck about. You know why? Because you make content that is selfish. You make content for you to get followers. You make content for you to get likes. You make content for you to sell something to someone. You make content that is selfish. That's it. Like, do you understand? Literally, every time I post, I look at it and I'm like, why would somebody look at this? That's it. The frameworks of how to attack this game are simple. Executing is hard if you don't know what's happening within you. Right? Because I think, this is a really, again, I love this time of year. I need to start making sure Victoria, make sure I do a talk in the first 2 weeks of the year every year. This is like real to me. Like, this is such a good time because life's about, it's like sports. It's nice to have a football stadium right next door. Life's about momentum. It's momentum, right? And so the reason a lot of people are not doing what I'm talking about is the momentum's not in the right direction. They lost a step. They were better 3 years ago than today. Like, you get caught. But like, again, just like when, in holidays, you eat a little something, January, you want to cut down, like, you got to get the momentum. That first day in the gym's impossible. Even for me, I'm a workaholic. And when I go on vacation for 2 weeks, like I just did, the first day back, I'm like, I want to retire. Now, once I break the seal an hour in, I'm like, no, this is my fucking game. But literally like 2 hours earlier on the first Monday, I'm like, I'm not doing it. And then by 10 a.m., I'm like, this is my spot. It's like tough to, right? I'm sure for a lot of you, That's what the gym is, right? No, you get there and you get that euphoria, right? Or you eat like shit for like 3 months and you're fucking losing and then you get that one good day and you swim. Like, it's momentum. You must figure out what's going on in your dome right here that is stopping you. I'm gonna say it again. Back to school. Remember school? I don't know if I see some kids in here. Do they still have Scantron sheets? Probably not, right? They do? Those used to be my favorite. I would just walk, I was such a bad student. I would literally walk into every high school test. If they were like Scantron, I'm like, yes. I would take it and be like, C, D, B, A, C, D, B. Give a fuck. Not because I'm cool, but because I was smart enough to pay attention that getting straight A's in school had no correlation to being happy and successful. It's an interesting time of year to give a talk when it's this early in the year because everyone's, what are we in the 10th? By now you've already probably broken one or two of your core things that you promised you were gonna do this year. And I think about that a lot actually, the whole New Year's resolution thing and how hard it is to sustain it. And really, if you follow my content or if you've stumbled on it, it's really interesting about the two places I think about. You know, I use this term clouds and dirt a lot, and because a lot of it is just perspective and then execution. And most of the content I put out early in my career, and I still do, is very much around the execution. Like I can sit here for the next 45 minutes and tell you why I know most of you are not producing enough content on Facebook right now because Facebook's organic reach and paid ads, given how so many content creators are overly focused just on Instagram and TikTok, has become a huge opportunity like it was almost 7 years ago to drive your business. And I love talking about that shit. And I know that some of the people in this room right now literally just took note of that and are gonna go home and explore with it. And Facebook's gonna be a more important platform for you than Instagram is right now because too many people are stuck on Instagram. Not that Instagram's not important, it's just so competitive. That's why all your organic reach is down, right? So I can talk about all that. And I can talk about a lot of other tactics, like for the people that actually have time. I posted this morning, like the thing I'm most sad about right now is that I just don't have time and I'm not that guy who I was in my 20s and 30s, but anyone who's got the luxury of time and has ambition, and I don't think you're at this conference and paid to be here and spent your time to be here if you're not hungry or trying to make something happen. If I'm someone in this audience right now and I have 3, 4, 5 hours a day, and I don't mean you have it because most people don't have it, I mean, when you really audit your time, you realize you're wasting 3, 4, 5 hours a day on dumb shit that you don't need to be doing, which is all of us. That's all I think about. How do I get another 15 minutes, another 15 minutes? But if I had 3 or 4 hours a day, I would be streaming live on TikTok and Twitch constantly for my business, whatever you're doing here. And like, but again, it's a hard game. The biggest issue for entrepreneurs, executives, parents, the world, is that most things that are remarkable are hard. And then occasionally you'll find someone who blasted off real quick and you decide to point to the 0.0000001% person that hit it instead of realizing the 99.9% of people that hit it after doing something properly and hard for a decade. I know that if people paid attention to what I just said right now and go back and get very serious about going live on TikTok and Twitch for 4 hours a day, that it's gonna take them 6 months to get any level of any kind of traction. And I'm talking 5 days a week, which is 20 hours a week. And I know for most people after 4 to 5 days, let alone weeks, they'll give up. Because that's all I've watched for the last 25 years. When I talked about you should get an e-commerce site, or you should do email, or you should do Google AdWords, or you should do Facebook, or you should do YouTube, and on and on and on, it's just, you know, as I reflect, you know, I love this time of year because you get a little downtime during the holidays, you think about different shit because you're out of your patterns. And when I think, you know, obviously I knew I had this talk early on, I'm like, how do I mix it up? What do I want to talk about? I want to talk about the fact that most of you are just going to give up too soon. And it's because you just want it easier than it actually is. And it's really not about the tactics, it's about your perspective. so much of what is fucking everybody up is they're worried about everybody else. In two ways. Somebody else's success is not taking out of yours. There's so much unlimited everything. Money, fame, opportunity, so much that getting fixated on someone else's success is hurting so many people. As if that's actually taking out of yours. Do you know how many people, when I put out certain things, say, well, someone else is doing that already? I'm like, someone else is doing everything already. There's fucking 17 trillion versions of me. Like always, like I laugh at like people being stuck in like 40 years ago mentality. I just flew from London, so 12 hours. I got to sleep a little bit, but I also got to do a ton of work. Somebody wrote me an email, was like, before I tell you my big idea, you gotta sign an NDA. I'm like, motherfucker. But it's not 1986 up in this bitch no more. Delete, fuck you. And it was funny because I took note of like, I hadn't heard somebody say you need to sign an NDA in so long. But when I look around and what I'm trying to think through as I sit with all of you, I'm like, what are they thinking about that is over, that isn't real? This is why I'm so fascinated by perspective. You know, life is what you decide to look at. Like, you know, I wish you could see my social media feeds. Like, it's like kittens getting saved off a tree. Like literally the post that caught my attention the most today in my feed was a post about two kids driving in Massachusetts the other day. It was like a news article about it or like a clip. They were driving, it was snowing, and they made the dad pull over because the guy who was shoveling the sidewalk was in a wheelchair and you saw that? And they jumped out and helped him, right? It is nice. And I get to see nice shit in my feed because I decide to focus on positivity. Everyone's like, the algorithm, social media. No, it's you. You do understand these algorithms are empty. They just want to keep you on. I can tell you everything about yourself by opening your phone and looking at your algorithms. They're not trying to make you sad, you're sad.